I'm Hava, and I'm on a mission to inspire women to become more of who they truly are. And sometimes we need to try new things to shape our identity into who we want to be. I'd love to be funny and make people laugh more. So today I'm becoming a comedian. Like all things, even though some people are naturally more funny than others, humor is a skill that can be learned. So if you want to be funny and express yourself that way, learn how. I somehow make people laugh, but I wouldn't call jokes my strength, even though I make them from time to time. But making people laugh makes me happy. Laughing is so healthy and it lifts the energy of the world. Stand-up comedy in particular is also known as one of the most daring ways to put yourself out there. And I need more practice putting myself out there. So I'm here for it. First, I hit Google. I simply searched how to be funny, and apparently there's some pretty concrete tips to add laughter to your life fast. One big theme seems to be surprising, especially by using opposites. Here are a few ways. 1. Say yes when people expect you to say no, and vice versa. 2. Use extreme numbers. When the lead-up seems like the number will be small, say something big, and vice versa. When you're about to say a very big number, add only before it. When you're about to say a very small number, say something along the lines of, it's a huge amount, beforehand. How tall am I? Well, if you haven't met me in person, you might not know that I tower over people at a tall 5'1". Those people just happen to be preschoolers. 3. Play to the rule of 3. Create build-up with the first 2 items in a list. 1 normal, 2 normal, 3 something funny, odd, or different. When I get ready in the morning, I brush my teeth, wash my face, and climb 17 flights of stairs. I'm training for the Empire run-up. Another way to get people laughing is to use real-life stories. Look for examples of funny things that happen to you or around you and jot them down. Apparently, great comedians used to always keep notebooks on them for this very reason. Maybe now they just use their phones. But I wanted to dive deeper. I mean, those tips are great for getting casual laughs, but saying no to a question that invites an obvious yes isn't a high enough bar for me to feel really funny. So I decided to buy tickets to a couple comedy shows to see what I could observe from people who are professionally funny. I saw the live taping of Matthew Broussard Films a Special,
Matthew Broussard.
Matthew drew on a lot of personal experiences. He often created a setup with background information or a story and then built up to a punchline, sometimes unexpectedly. If he messed up his setup, he just acknowledged that he needed to restart, demonstrating that even as an experienced comedian, imperfection is okay. And I watched Chandler Dean's Abolish Everything comedy debate show at Caveat. As I make my own foray into comedy, I thought what better place to start than to observe some comedians who do this either as amateurs or professionally. And I've been dying to see one of Chandler Dean's shows, so here we are at Caveat to see Abolish Everything.
Oh, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Abolish Everything!
There is one trend that I'm happy to see return, and I'm sure you can guess what it is. The bump it! That is my present day passport picture, and it's back, bitches.
I guess I want to just make a broader point. Maybe I'm crazy, but last time I checked, time is a circle. And fashion is a circle. So you're not just asking us to change fashion, you're asking us to change time. And last time I checked, the only people that wanted to do something crazy at time were Batman villains. Pretty good point, the room is silent.
Fashion being a circle, and I agree with you, it's going very fast. But I would consider it a lesson in patience. Because if you stand still for about 6 minutes, fashion will whip around so fast it'll come right back to you. And it's a lesson in breathing and centering yourself and knowing that as soon as the jeans go away, they're gonna come right back. I will also say that that picture of the landfill of all the clothes, while I fully see your point, all I see when I look at that is a shopping spree. But I understand your point.
Some of us need cyclical fashion trends. I say that as a man that wore a ridiculous Coogee sweater here today. I spent $100 on a sweater that does not fit me at all.
And you might be saying it's a diner. You know, what are you, Marie Antoinette? You know, it's a cheap fruit, and it's cost efficient for diners to include them in their fruit salad bowls. But think about the fruit salad of birthdays, weddings, and funerals. Specifically, the edible arrangement. People are paying 3 figures to get 3 chocolate-covered strawberries and 300 melons. It's a miniature email. It is also a miscommunication tool. And lastly, it's an easy way out to rhyme. Power of it us. You need to sort of get it out.
I noticed some different techniques. In the Abolish Everything show, I watched people take on a role or persona. The comedians used a lot of irony, and the yes and method was definitely at play. Like Matthew's humor, there was a lot of build-up to the unexpected, and both shows involved something known as a callback, which is when a funny thing previously mentioned gets mentioned again later in the show. Watching comedy just isn't enough to become comedic. I realized that there's a lot more to a comedian's work than meets the eye. So I rolled up my sleeves and sat down with a comedian in New York City to learn more about how to prepare for my own stand-up routine.
I'm preparing for an open mic, and some things that I wrote down are exceptions we make for kids, being a New Yorker, dumb controversies, how we'd act if social norms or etiquette weren't a thing, my own New York City vagabond experiences, because my first 3 months in New York City, I didn't have a place to live, so I was pet sitting, and that created some interesting experiences. Someone told me in their description, like, oh, I'm gonna need someone to take care of my cats, and also I have plants, and so I'm gonna need someone to take care of the plants. And then it wasn't until I showed up that I found out there were over 70 plants in this apartment. We both agreed, like, oh, these things are amusing for sure, but there's gotta be a way you can spin it into something that makes people laugh. How do you take these different experiences and ideas and package it into something that's actually funny?
Anything like needs like a good intro, like, oh, I just moved to New York City, and
So sort of like story building.
right, like, but it's not storytelling necessarily, because you're just painting like a small picture. It's like, yeah, I just moved here, and we all like have stories on like how we moved, or some people just move in and they get an apartment. Like I had to pet sit to make my way here. You're like,
You build up to a punchline.
yeah, like I wanted to, and you want to make people laugh throughout it. Get into the crowd shoes and like kind of misdirect them. And like everyone's moved to New York City. If we lived in New York City, well, a lot of, if you know, people did grow up here, but it's really about how you present it and like the punchlines. Like that's why it's not just storytelling. It's joke telling. You want to keep the crowd going.
Do you take like things that are ordinary and not funny and then like infuse comedy, or do you take things that already have something humorous to them and amplify it?
I mean, just for example, I was walking down the street the other day and I was talking on the phone with my mom, and I was using my hands when I was talking, and this woman's like, put your hands away. And I'm like, I'm Jewish. I'm good at talking with my hands.
So you look for things that are kind of have a spark of funny, and then you find a way to like magnify it.
Yes. We all have different edges. Many people pet sit, but like what made yours different was like you found 70 plants.
How did you get started?
So I took the comedy class, which I highly recommend if you want to like pursue comedy or even just like learn a skill set. Comedy is the ultimate way to learn how to be funny in front of others, how to put yourself out there, how to just like take what you already know and kind of turn it into a unique perspective. I've gotten better at interviews. I became more confident in my job. I became more confident, like, being an advocate for myself. And then I met a bunch of different comedians, and then I slowly on my journey, I met more people who were also like my level of comedy. And I went to more open mics, and I just was like put in shows here and there. But I think that I don't have that ultimate mindset, like I want to be a professional comedian between those one day.
My perception has always been that humor, and if someone's funny, it's just like, oh, you're funny or you're not. But something I really wanted to sort of break that stereotype in this video is that it's not that way. Humor is a skill like so many other things.
Always had that kind of like natural ability, but I truly believe like everyone has a sense of humor and everyone is funny. I just might not find their humor funny.
Yes.
Right? Like I think that that's really important to know.
I love that.
And some people may not think I'm funny, even though like I'm a comedian. But like I think I have friends who are funny but aren't comedians. So I think everyone's funny.
It's just who connects with your comedy.
Right.
This is my first time doing this. I don't know what kind of raw potential I have or not, but regardless, there is a great chance that I may bomb on stage. I mean, they say stand-up comedy is one of the scariest things you can do for yourself as far as putting yourself out there, because people are going to laugh or they're not. And I've even heard recently that open mics can be even harder just because you're sitting around a bunch of comedians who are thinking about their own content. And so if you can keep their attention and make them laugh, you know, that's pretty good. But if I don't, how did you handle it if you've ever bombed? I imagine every comedian has.
Yeah, every like rejection is kind of
Redirection? Yes. Do you rewrite on the fly?
You can always say like, oh, it's a new joke I'm working out, but they don't laugh. I like think about how can I make this joke better. I talk to my co-host. I talk to different comedians. Talk to my friends because they know some of my stories that I share on stage and my jokes on stage. It's just feedback. I have to think about like, was it a smaller crowd? Was it a more difficult crowd? Was the crowd too large that people were distracted by other things?
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the show, the end of the show. There were so many factors. I always have jokes that I know will always make people laugh because I've tried. Like I've tried.
They're tried and true.
They're tried and true, and I tested them. So no guarantee that like those will make people laugh. So I just kind of quickly go to that one.
Okay, so if you have a joke that bombs, you reach for one that you know will get a laugh.
But also, I put together a set where I embed my newer stuff, like kind of in the middle, or I add it to a joke that I currently have, so that at least part of the joke made people laugh.
But if someone's embarking on all this, like things they should keep in mind.
If you want to pursue this or have interest in it, first, talk to a comedian, like what you're doing right now. Great. Or, try a class, go to an open mic, see what it's like. And when you have ideas, write them down. Okay. And not every idea is going to turn into something, but, I have things that I've written down 2 years ago, and I'm like, now it could be a joke. Just
sort of like immersing yourself.
Yeah, just immerse yourself. I am a Jewish comic. I brand myself as that because a lot of my comedy and the majority, like I always tie it into something about being Jewish, like growing up with a Jewish family, dating Jewish, being Jewish in New York City. And I love to build community through that. And I host a monthly show called Kugels and Comedians. And I also run a small noodle kugel business. So that's kind of where the name Kugels and Comedians came about. It's called Kugeling.
Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you.
Equipped with Robin's insight, I attended a local networking event for comedians to collaborate and co-work. Like the magic of a movie, as soon as I walked in, a rush of inspiration washed over me, so I immediately sat down to write the rough draft of my set. I received some instant feedback and encouragement, and I got to hear from a few comedians myself.
My name is Jay Flats. Recently, I celebrated 90 days. I didn't quit drinking, I quit recycling. I don't recommend it to everybody, but recycling will lead to global warming, and global warming is the only way we're getting rid of Florida. Yeah, I said it, that's right. Sorry, Florida, you had your chance. You're slowing the rest of us down. You got the rest of the world thinking we all have camo Crocs and an ATV. We don't have that, Florida. Yeah, so global warming. Stop recycling, everybody.
I walk into an elevator, and the elevator is really crowded. I go into the elevator, and I fart. But I think, oh my God, I tell everyone, oh my God, I just pooped my pants. Everyone stares at me in disgust. Ugh. You pooped your pants? It's so disgusting. It's a crowded elevator. But then I say, it's okay. I just farted. And it's pretty stinky, but people are relieved.
So my boyfriend and I are thinking about getting a dog, which is basically like an engagement in millennial language, very exciting. And you know, I've been noticing that a lot of people discriminate against certain dog breeds because of their health issues. So for example, like everyone's really down on pugs because they've been so inbred that they can no longer breathe properly. But you know who else has that same problem? The Jews. And we're still lovable.
I cleaned up my set later, but it still felt like it was lacking, so I reached out to comedian Chandler Dean, who generously left comments on my Google Doc with specific tips for how to elevate the jokes I'd already written. With that, I felt much more confident going into my performance. The Duplex, a piano bar in New York City's West Village, holds a stand-up comedy show in its upstairs space on Tuesdays. I got there early to sign up and then spent the next hour rehearsing my routine. When it was time to take the stage, I was pretty much ready. Hey everyone! Hey. I'm Hava, or as some baristas like to call me. What? You never heard that? Oftentimes, I receive the question, what, in response to introducing myself. Anyone else? Woo! And as if what is a question I should know how to answer in response to my name. Oftentimes, I'll respond with Hava, H-A-V as in Victor, A. Some people dream of having fancy cars and big mansions. I just dream of having a name common enough that I can use it to give other people context to their names. Or sometimes I'll respond with Hava, like lava with an H. They all worse at a loud party when I'm holding a beer, trying to be cool, yelling, lava with an H! But usually I'm standing in the front of a Starbucks line, spelling my name, giving memory hugs, explaining the history of my name, and it slowly dawns on me that if my name were Hannah, I'd be done with my coffee by now. Sometimes people meet me and feel clever by singing First of all, I think it is hilarious that upon meeting a stranger for the first time, people will take that stranger's name, put it in a song, and perform it for them. It's like meeting LeBron James and saying, has anyone ever told you should play basketball? And secondly, in the Hebrew language, Hava in Hava Nagila isn't even really my name. My name is actually Hava, but H is the closest letter we have to the th sound. Hear that? Yeah. So... Sorry, hold on, let me check my notes. Alright, so you know that H is the closest letter we had to the sound. Nevertheless, at a young age, I learned that introducing a non-English sound in America is a mistake. It seems that people take it as a challenge not just to make the sound, but to really lean into it. They make my name sound like a fork in a blender. Or if you are really getting into it, maybe even a hissing cat. As mentioned, this was my first time doing stand-up comedy. If anyone is silently thinking I was not funny, don't worry, this is probably my final show. I'm up here because I'm working on... Oh, did I hit the button? Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm up here because I'm working on a film related to the journey of trying comedy for the first time. So I'm more than giving you my name, but if you'd like to see the work, it should be up in a month or two on YouTube and Instagram. You can find my work at hava.media. Thanks so much. Other than my two amazing friends who came to cheer me on, the crowd was pretty much all supportive comedians who were working on their own material. A fun and forgiving crowd. As fun as that was, because I love performing, I don't think stand-up comedy is my preferred activity on stage. However, learning skills to bring more laughter to the world, even just with family and friends, was fun and something I'd like to keep practicing. And maybe I can practice some of my new skills on camera in videos, and in interviews. Stand-up comedy is a great way to put yourself on the ledge, but being funny is a skill we can all learn and practice in our day-to-day lives.